Even though Christmas is supposed to be a happy time, don't you know people who seem more stressed during the holiday season? I'd be willing to bet that this is the most pressure-packed time of the year, considering the obligations that so many people feel they must meet.
That's right. I mean, between planning events, attending family and friend and work gatherings, financial pressures, buying gifts that impress, the challenge of finding that right present, especially when they're all sold out. I mean, the holiday season really can take its toll.
We're joined on the line today by Dr. Katie Kamkar, a clinical psychologist at CAMH's Psychological Trauma Program. Here in studio, Theo Sellis, a veteran family therapist. Theo, is part of the problem that many of us, we see the joys in the faces of others, and because maybe we don't feel that joy, we become even more depressed at this time of year?
Well, there's a lot of expectations to keep up and measure up that we buy into, and it really doesn't have to happen, though, right? Christmas is obviously a time where you should be celebrating your friends and your family and enjoying like small moments with each other, but rather than kind of caving into the expectations of all the presents that we have to do. We have to have an X number of presents. We have to visit so-and-so each time, even though we may not like them. We buy into all of these expectations, and they ruin our Christmas for us.
Yeah, Dr. Kamkar, I want to ask you about the expectations, because for sure, there's some years that we put even more expectation than others, like, will I get that engagement ring? Will my parents accept my boyfriend? But isn't having hope and optimism healthy?
Yes, we know that holiday seasons are usually a joyful time filled with gatherings and celebrations, but we also know that not everyone might really be looking forward to the holidays, and in fact, holidays can be quite distressing for a lot of people. For example, we know that holidays may be very difficult if a person underwent an upsetting or traumatic experience during past holiday seasons, which then again, the coming holidays could bring then upsetting memories and feelings of sadness and isolation. We also know that if people suffer from various types of illnesses or death of loved ones, or the inability, again, to be with loved ones, can really add up to the feelings of sadness and loneliness and unhappiness. So there are various factors, including, as you mentioned, all the expectations, especially if we have expectations of wanting everything to be perfect. It could come with food and decorations and all the gifts. If we, again, raise the expectations very high, then it becomes very difficult to meet with the expectations, then further contributing to disappointment.
Theo, if spending time with family is so stressful for so many people, what can you do? I mean, can you ignore your family? Can you get a family member? I'm going to ask Theo this question here, Doctor. Can you ask, maybe say to a family member, look, I don't want to go to Aunt so-and-so's place again this year. I can't stand those creamed onions. How do I get out of it? Well, how do you do that? Do you discuss it maybe with other family members?
Just say no. It's okay. It's okay not to visit people.
But then they say why? Why can't you come?
You just say, you know what, we've decided to cut back this holiday. We don't want to spend it traveling around all the time. We want to focus on what matters. We just want to take some time, because we know that time is precious. You can't buy time. You can't buy love. So we want to just kind of pull back. So you don't have to make it personal against your drunken uncle who always ends up trying to burn the Christmas tree. You can just make it sort of general. I just want to spend time at home with my family. That's what we're focusing on, just kind of do our own thing. It's okay. It's all right to say no. Christmas is a good time to be able to practice saying no to people and saying, look, we just want to be there with our own family, not travel.
Dr. Kamkar, I mean, on the flip side, holidays can actually bring up feelings of, loss and a sense of being alone and disconnected because, hey, not everybody has a big family. I don't. And you know what? God forbid you are single. So how do you fight off those feelings of being, kind of left out in the cold?
Yeah, it's very important not to self-isolate ourselves. So on the other hand, yes, some people might have to basically prioritize in terms of their social and family commitments. On the other hand, some people might really feel lonely. And it's very important during those times to seek. There are some organizations, there are some community places, there are some religious organizations. It's very important not to be alone and to really seek help and the places and organizations to attend to. And again, as part of all the social gatherings, I think what can also be helpful is really to prioritizing activities. So especially if there are numerous gatherings to attend and it's difficult to commit to all of them, so we can really prioritize the ones to attend. The other thing we need to be mindful of is especially when people suffer from depression or anxiety disorders or various other mental health issues, then again, it's very important maybe to, it's again very difficult for them for instance, to go to crowded places because of anxiety, or to do the gift shopping, or also to attend all the gatherings. So that's something that we want to be mindful of and help our loved ones.
Theo, I think, trying to live up to the obligations, we never will. We'll never be able to get the greatest gift for our family and friends. And I'm wondering maybe if Christmas time, we shouldn't be a little bit selfish. Do something enjoyable for ourselves. And then maybe once we've done that, we'll feel a little bit better out of, maybe putting out for other people. What do you think of being like selfish at Christmas time for yourself?
Well, some people do actually buy themselves a present, put it in their stocking, or put it under the tree. It's just an indication that they're important too. Hopefully it's not people that typically buy things for themselves all the time, but it's important to not forget, yourself at Christmas. And I think a lot of times people who are alone too, or they don't have a lot of family and friends, there's nothing wrong with being able to take something for yourself, do something, treat yourself to something special. I think that's great. One thing I think we should do though is just cut back in general though, in terms of how much we're expected to give. If you have a Christmas tree, hopefully there's not tons and tons and tons of presents there. And for crying out loud, when you're sitting with your family, open the presents up one at a time. Don't dive in there with paper flying all over the place. Enjoy them. Take turns giving them to people. Don't just have a big free-for-all. Then it's over, and it's just this big orgy of excess. One at a time, slow it down, do a little bit less. It's all good.
All right. I should mention last night on Family Guy, the idea was one gift. If everybody in the world would accept one gift from their loved one, that would make the world all that much better. And you know what? I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think the expectations sometimes are, especially with younger people, we expect 3 or 4 gifts. Theo, is one gift, would that be a good way of starting maybe?
We should maybe not take ourselves so seriously, get wrapped up at Christmas. Enjoy it's fun, and have one gift, big gift under your tree, a couple in your stocking, enjoy yourself. Remember, you can't buy love, you can't buy time, that's what's important. Forget all that other stuff, all those expectations. Just enjoy Christmas.
And now go out and shop.
Nicely put.
And get those gifts.
Thanks so much to our guests, Dr. Katie Kamkar and Theo Sellis. Appreciate it. Have a Merry, Merry Christmas, both of you.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you.